It's time to make your great escape, and heaven knows you need a break. Forget your duties, forget your cares. It's good to get away.
Hi, and welcome to Augusta Outdoors. If you've been to the Savannah River lately, or even the Augusta Canal or Clarks Hill Lake, you'll notice more and more people are showing up with kayaks in addition to the usual motorboats. Kayaking and paddling has gotten to be a big sport all over the country, and it is gaining leaps and bounds here in Augusta. So I think there'll be some good things you can learn today. Hey.
Hey Rob, what's going on?
How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for letting us come out and talk with you today.
Yeah, no problem.
So how is the kayak renting business
It's
today?
going good. Today's been real busy. Labor Day weekend's always a busy time for us.
How many people you got coming out of
today? I got
boats?
7 boats.
Okay.
Yeah, to make sure.
Make sure they're all here.
8 seats, yeah. So we got a group of 8 going down the canal.
And where are they going? They're going to put in at the canal and get out downtown or at Lake Olmsted?
They're going to be getting out at Lake Olmsted. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And about an hour and a half, 2-hour paddle.
Okay. What are the most popular places to paddle here? Whether you're renting a kayak or a canoe, or whether you're taking your own?
Yes, sir. The Augusta Canal is one of the most popular. Betty's Branch in Evans, Riverside Park is a very popular route too. My personal favorite is the Rapids, which is across the canal over here.
Okay.
The only problem with that is the water does get high, and especially with all this rain that we have had, it's getting a little dangerous. So when So when the water's a little high, we kind of typically like to do just the canal and Betty's Branch.
What sort of things are helping to make kayaking more popular here in Augusta? I know people have done it for decades up on the mountain rivers, but it seems like, we have Bender Dinker, Paddle Fest. There's one coming up soon that the Georgia River Coalition puts on, the Hidden Gems Tour.
Yes, sir. I'd probably say just the awareness. A lot of people didn't realize, how much of a fun area we have here to play with. So there's been a couple kayaking companies along with myself that have sprouted up over the last couple of years that I think have just really got some people out here on the water. It's kind of a circle effect. Everyone's having a good time and coming back.
Okay. How are you doing?
Hey, good to see you, Rob.
Good to see you. Thank you for spending some time to talk with us today. Since we're doing a piece on kayaking and how popular it's gotten, I know a lot of people that have a bass boat or a pontoon boat or a jet ski. They know about the laws and fire extinguishers and registration, but I wanted to see if you could tell us a little bit about what people who are paddling on our rivers and lakes here in Georgia need to know about the law, what they have to have or not have, and what the rules say. What do you guys check for?
Right. The kayaks and the stand-up paddle boards have become really popular on the Savannah River. Those are considered vessels, just like the bass boats and everything else. So they have the same safety requirements that the other boats do.
Okay.
Each kayak or stand-up paddleboard has to have a wearable life jacket on board for all their occupants.
Okay.
If they have a child under the age of 13, the child has to have it on and wearing it while the boat's in motion.
So not just in the boat, but
not just in the boat. They actually have to be wearing it.
Okay.
If they're operating at night, they have to have like a flashlight, handheld flashlight to ward off other boats.
Because a kayak doesn't have running lights like a regular boat would,
right.
but the flashlight is a requirement.
A flashlight's a requirement, and so if another boat comes along, they can flash them off.
Okay.
So they don't run them over at night.
Okay, those are some of the things the law says that you have to do, but you guys are out here trying to keep people safe. What are some of the things that people who are paddling, especially on the Savannah River, might need to do, or things that they should be aware of if they're new to this?
We always tell people to make sure that they're aware of their surroundings, the weather conditions being one.
Right.
The river conditions, the levels go up and down quite frequently.
Depending on how the dam is generating power.
If they're generating power, it raises and lowers. You want to make sure that you can actually paddle through some of those currents when they're generating.
Okay.
You want to keep a watch on the weather conditions if they're changing. With the winds, rain, thunder, lightning, you want to make sure that you can, get to a safe spot or have a plan. Okay. We always tell folks to also go ahead and develop a float plan before they go anywhere.
A float plan?
A float plan, and what that is basically you're telling somebody where you're putting in, what time you're going to be back, where you're going to be operating that day. That way, if something happens, you don't show up at your designated time, that we know that something might have happened, we might need to start looking for you. And if we know a roundabout where you were going to be, that'd be a good place for us to start.
Yeah, that's true. If you're interested in getting started in kayaking, one of the first questions you probably have is what kind of kayak that you might need for the waters we have around here in Augusta. Today we're going to talk a little bit with Matt Patrick at Escape Outdoors, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the newest technology in kayaks and what sort of things are suited to the Savannah River and our water here. What kayaks do people need?
Absolutely. There are a few different types of kayaks, one being sit on top, another being the sit inside. They are exactly what they sound like. One of them you sit on top of. So it is a platform design. It does have holes in it called scupper holes that drain out the water and they provide that constant buoyancy of those sit on top kayaks. Now, those are pertinent for people who don't like the idea of being inside of a boat.
As opposed to a sit inside.
As opposed to a sit inside, which is exactly what you do in those. You sit inside of them. So the sit on tops offer easy access if you have a cooler or fishing rods or any of that sort of stuff.
So it has more deck space.
More deck space, more accessibility, exactly right. Also, they do remain buoyant, and a lot of folks like them because it's the ease of getting in and out of the boat. So that's a pretty big selling point with those. Now, with a sit inside is exactly the opposite. You sit inside of the boat rather than on top of it. There are a few pros that provide as well. For the most part, because of the lack of the material within the cockpit, they are a little bit lighter. And because you're below the water line, they're a little bit more stable as well.
I wanted to ask a quick question about paddles. I understand that choosing a paddle, and I guess I'd compare it to if you're looking for a bow, the bow has to be fitted to your arm span and that sort of thing. But what do people need to know once they've chosen a kayak? What do they need to know about choosing a paddle?
Sure, there's really two criteria that goes into choosing a paddle. One, the type of boat that you have and the type of activities in water that you're going to be in. Two is your size. So, a taller guy would need a longer paddle.
Certainly.
And then there's price points. So there's different materials that go into making them, and that provide that kind of goes into the cheaper ones and the really expensive ones. So there are different price points as far as that goes. But for the most part, it's the type of boat and the size of the paddle.
Okay. And if you're used to paddling a canoe or even a john boat, now kayaks are a little different. They have a paddle on each end of the same stick.
That's right.
What sort of form is best for paddling?
Sure, well, it's really important. A lot of folks, when they first get started, they have a tendency to lean way back and to bring the water towards them, where it's really important to kind of keep in mind nice forward upright posture, back straight, weight forward, and the ratio that I usually give people is 60 punch, 40 pull. So instead of pulling the water towards you, imagine driving yourself through the water. So that's usually a little technique that I sort of tell people, and we do provide instructions and things like that here. So if someone were to have a little more detailed question, we could certainly help them out.
That sounds great. Okay, well, I think we know a lot more now than we did. I
appreciate
you talking with us.
Sir.
Thank you very, very much. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and if you like what you saw, be sure to check us out on YouTube and subscribe if you'd like to be advised when new videos come out, and also please check us out on AugustaChronicle.com.